What's up, Summers End Society? I'm here with Dupel,
What's up?
and I'm Paige, and we're going to talk a little bit about your new album, 2K Till Infinity.
Yes, absolutely.
So, to start us off, where did this album come from? Tell us a little bit about it as like a kind of a all-around overview of what's going on with you right now, and
Hmm.
kind of just where do we start with this album for you?
It's definitely like the end point for a lot of things, I'd say. Sort of what I've been building up to in terms of things that I'm um just themes and motifs that I've been working on and like growth as a person and as an artist. Um so it's pretty much like um the Avengers Endgame, I guess, of like Dupel shit. You know what I mean? Um, I did Mom's Love Dupel, and that was sort of the first thing where I'm like, I kind of want to before I feel like I was just making a lot of shit just to get it out there and just to have something to perform, and then I'm like, well, let's try and track my growth as a person from this point to another. So you get Mom's Love Dupel, um, which it's a lot more like a not a character, but um, definitely like purposeful overcompensation. Just a lot of like flexing and flexing and flexing, and then like eventually you get to the point where it's like, all right, like where are we going with this? And then with Big Vibes, it's sort of more grounded, I guess, and it's sort of like this is the reason why I flex a lot, or like, you know, shut. You'll get food later. Be quiet. Relax. Sorry. Um, but I think the main thing for Big Vibes was that it's a way for me to be more myself and to like realize that I've been like sort of hit a lot, and knocked down a lot, and knocked down a lot, and like actually keep track of myself growing. Because I think at the end of Mom's Love Dupel, I was very just exhausted, and I had uh, a lot more emotional depth in that album than I thought I would. And so I had a lot of shit that I had to sort out, and life happens, and so you have a plan, and sometimes shit happens, and the plan doesn't feel as nice as it originally was going to.
100%.
You
Feel
know,
that.
so like a cousin of mine passed away in December, I think, November possibly, but same week that my grandmother had a stroke. So that was in the middle of working on Big Vibes, and it helped a bit, but at the same time, and the longer I was working on Big Vibes, the more I'm like, okay, I'm progressing more as a person, and like this is just like a small chapter of that,
Hmm.
and I really want to make something that's like a culmination of all of it. So I set myself the end goal of 2K till infinity as a way of like, having that view in mind and this place that I would like to be. And it was also very impacted by the passing away of my friend. One of my close homies died same day or a couple days before I had released Big Vibes. So I ended the project with a very, I guess, positive message. And since then, it's been very hard to be positive and to be like, just keep going, you got this, because it's like you wake up some days and it's just shit. It just,
100%.
you know,
100%. Do you feel like because of going through something like so horrible, you put that time and that grieving into your writing, and is that going to be shown in your new album?
for sure.
2K Till
Definitely.
Infinity.
Yes. Um, that's the goal. I think by that point it'll just be a small chapter in it, but the idea was, and I guess to make a long story short, my friend Garrett, who I went to high school with, after high school he had helped me start rapping, mainly because I had taught myself how to rap, but I didn't have any way of recording myself, and he helped me out with my mixing and mastering and stuff before I knew how to do that myself. So I'd go over to his house and just, make tracks. Some were just, bullshitting around, and some were more serious. Um, but I mean, he was the first person to take a chance on me and like, you know, put his own free time into like Dupel and getting that very first mixtape out. Um, so I think all of this is to make sure that isn't like, you know,
For nothing.
for nothing exactly. And
100%.
because I never got to tell him that, and he had passed unexpectedly. And so after Big Vibes, just, you do this premiere for it and this night at the mansion, and it's all fun, but like one of your day one homies isn't there, and so to me, that's what I would like to tackle with 2K Till Infinity, and it's I use a saying where it's like, make something that lasts forever with a lot of the promotion, or like, all roads lead to infinity, and that's because like at the end of the day everyone dies. And that's kind of stuff I'm sorting through right now, but like what do I want to leave as a legacy? And I don't want my friend's legacy to just be that he had died when he was young. Like I want it to be very, noticeable the impact he made on my life, and how he can, you know, rest easy with his memory continuing on as like, the driving force between or for this project, right? So the actual grieving will probably just be a smaller chapter by that point, but I do have projects set aside, because with every road trip and every experience you go on, there's going to be stops along the way, and I can't just not release music for another year and a half while I work on this. So I've got a roadmap of projects that I'm going to do, and Big Vibes was a part of it. Moms Love Dupel was a part of it. And where it necessarily ends is 2K Till Infinity, but how I get there is all about, what life throws at me. I've got a couple set projects, but sometimes I might just do shit for shits and giggles, you know what I mean?
100%. And I think with a lot of your albums, you're very, there's very, like, it's very thematic.
Mm-hmm.
And for Big Vibes and Little Victories, like, it was all about having that, what those little wins are. And
right.
so what's kind of the theme that you're, you got me when I was being deep.
Come here. Come on. Come here.
So what's the overall theme that you want listeners to take away from, 2K Till Infinity? And I know that you said that it's, like, it does have those flavors of,
right.
grief, and you want to leave that legacy. But what would you feel is the overall
overall
theme? What would you say is the overall theme that you want to get away with on this album?
Right. I think the biggest theme that I would like to end with is just like, make a difference, I guess, because I've always been like someone who's wanted to like help my community, and I think I've lost a sense of that. I think like when I was a kid, that was something that I wanted to focus on, just because like the people I idolized and stuff like that, and growing up in the church environment, you definitely want to do charity work and stuff like that. And I think finding myself as I was an adolescent and a teenager and stuff.
As we all were. We were all awkward at one point.
I'm awkward now, man. But the main point is that it's like, I'm at a point where like I've lost some people close to me, and there's a lot more. I know.
All right, stanky breath.
Stank breath. Hey, it's okay. We love you. You're awesome. Yeah, I know. You can bug me all you want. And sometimes you have a little bit more pizzazz, but that's okay. But I think the main thing that I am like shooting for, I guess. Fuck, what was the question?
It was about the theme, but you hit the nail on the head with what you're talking about with the theme with the community.
Oh yeah, to make a difference in my community, just because I think a lot of issues, especially with like the Bell Park evictions and stuff like that, Kingston is dealing with a lot of homelessness and a lot of drug use, and like I'm in a position where I can make music that is about certain stuff, and there's artists who make music now that are in those, impoverished communities, or, more worse off communities, I guess, and, things like One Roof and like housing development and stuff like that was very vital to my friend staying on his feet for as long as he was able to before he had eventually passed. So I think being able to bring awareness to that and make that an art form, I think would be what I'm aiming for.
And I think more like along those lines, do you think in the album you're going to be mentioning a lot about, because you are a Kingston local and you are talking about community, so are you going to be mentioning a lot about Kingston? Are people that are from Kingston going to hear something and be like, oh yeah, I definitely
definitely think
agree
so
with that, totally been there, and all that sort of all that's good stuff. She always takes a jump when I'm talking.
Sorry, listeners. We'll be more prepared in the future. I swear to God. But no, I think, for sure. Because it's less become like, you know, a personal project for me, and I think it's a personal project for a lot of people because I think I can make it something special for a lot of people. Because you look at albums like, 2014 Forest Hills Drive by J. Cole is a very coming of age album that deals with community and stuff like that, and I definitely think that would have been impactful for people, not just for him. It would have been therapeutic for everyone that came from Fayetteville. Um, and you look at something kind of like Kendrick Lamar's "Good Kid, Mad City" or "To Pimp a Butterfly," ooh, um, and you look at those albums and what they mean to those people from Compton, or just in general anyone who's impacted by those projects, and that's kind of what I would like to go for.
Yeah, no, I totally see what you're saying. So you just want the listener to hear like where you're coming from and the community aspect along with the legacy.
For
Sounds
sure.
like a lot of weight on this album.
Yes,
So have you started writing? Have you
I
started,
have.
Yeah, so how do you go about writing, 'cause these are deep themes that you're
For
coming up
sure.
with. So does that just come to you as you're, hanging out, or
Yeah.
do you think more on it, or is it something your
Right.
friends say?
So I'll break it down to you like this. I get really sad, and then I get a load of this. I get sadder, and I get so sad that I decide to write because I'm so fucking depressed that I just can't do anything else. So I get really fucking sad, and then I just sort of there's like certain album themes that I like to touch on, and I look for beats that I can find that are appropriate to it, that fit that sound, and then either I outline or I just freestyle a little bit, see what I can get. But I think usually I go from a top down, so I come up with the album, like the name and the identity that I want it to be associated with, and then I outline the songs, and I go from there. 2K Till Infinity is one where I'm not really doing that. Like, I have the name down, I don't have artwork, and I've got a rough, outline of what I want to do, but I'm really letting it just happen. And with each road stop that goes along, those are all pre-planned, and a lot of those are already recorded and finished, and it's just about me revealing the dates for them. But with 2K Till Infinity, it's definitely like, something for people to look forward to and an idea to hold on to, and then eventually it'll manifest in time, I guess.
Wow, yeah. So it's just like it comes from a place of sadness. Do you feel like you ever write when you're feeling happy, or is it just like it's always when you're feeling like you need to let some sort of not some sort of like let your feelings out and in a way that people can listen to? So do you ever
Yeah.
through a happy is there certain songs that like are more geared toward when you were in a better
Mhm,
mood, and then
mhm.
songs that are more, geared towards when you're
I
upset?
definitely think so. I think a lot of Big Vibes was inspired by just me being in, like, maybe not the best frame of mind, but in a more like careful frame of mind, like just being that had been shortly after a year when I stopped drinking. So it was I definitely noticed there was progress. So there's definitely stuff to be happy about. And that's the thing, is that like um a lot of my music is inspired by just my struggles with mental health and stuff like that. But a lot of it is how I cope with it and how I get better from it. Like, you don't really cure that sort of thing, but you learn to live with it. And like Big Vibes, even though I might not be in the most positive space anymore as I was then, that's kind of the idea of it, was that like keep climbing this mountain, that is life or whatever, and you're going to slip and you're going to fall and you're going to have people in your journey not make it. But you can always find happy bits in it, and you can always find the bright side of things if you try hard enough, I think. So I have like sad songs that were brought by happiness, like a lot of my love songs and stuff are more about how someone used to make me feel happy and don't really do so anymore, but I'm choosing to remember the happier times, I guess. And then sometimes there's happy songs that are, masquerading a sadder song underneath, like my song Hypothermia is about my drinking problems. My song Tommy's is just about getting fucked up and like just ruining
Is it
shit.
after Tommy's in Kingston?
In Kingston, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Shout out Tommy's.
Yeah, shout out Tommy's for real.
We know what those Red Bull pictures got everybody
Oh
going
my God.
crazy.
The slippery pussies just let me just
yeah, those go crazy.
those slippery pussies hit so hard.
barely stand after them even.
Absolutely, absolutely. But that's kind of the idea, is that I think, there's a lot of complicated emotion in people, and like it's really, really easy to just put on a beat and just rap, and to just like, you know, say shit,
Yeah, like I think about when people talk about 90s freestyle rapping
Yeah.
and that you're kind of just going with the beat. I know it's not like that anymore. It's
No.
definitely grown into more of it's definitely grown more into the art form where you're writing
Exactly.
and it's very purposeful and it's not just
Sure.
coming from a place. But is there ever a time where you feel like you do just freestyle and that kind of just comes out as something good comes out of it?
I would say so. Um,
Hello, Munchkin, you're back.
I would say so, um, because there's a certain art to that as well, and not to say that it's not as important as anything else, but it's like, to be able to do more artsy stuff, you have to master the basics, and so it's nice to just like throw in a beat and flex for 3 minutes, no hooks, nothing, and you go in, you get something cool, and whether it's a hit or not, it doesn't really matter, because it's sort of like if you're a pro basketball player and you're doing a warm up game and you just have a really good warm up, like that's awesome, that's great. It might not be Kobe dropping 60 in his finals or whatever, like his final game, but you know there's something nice about having that warm up or that practice, and that sort of, I don't want to say throwaway track, but like a track that isn't as important as like this crux of this big, mind melting concept album. Like just a freestyle. Like there's something to like say about having one you do when you're 19 and then doing another one when you're like 24, 25, and how that changes like how you rap different.
Especially in those years. Those are
Oh yeah,
those are growth years.
absolutely.
The difference between being 18 and 24 is substantial.
Hell yeah, you're
Very
absolutely,
substantial.
absolutely.
So, for the people that are listening, like, what are the influences of this album? Like, who do you think that it kind of, I know it's your sound, but is there sort of influences from other rappers coming into it, or is it something that you've come up with on your own?
hmm Um, I would definitely say it's a lot of influence from other rappers, but the main point is that I wanted to make a sound or put together a group of sounds that make a cohesive sound that I just couldn't find like anywhere else, I guess. And that's sort of where I'm at. Like you start off when you like, oh, I want to sound like Mac Miller, or oh, I want to sound like Kanye West. And you make songs that sound like, oh yeah, that sounds like that could be a Mac Miller
Which
song.
I'm sure lots of people like starting out.
Absolutely, for
They
sure.
think, oh, I want to sound like Dave, so they just
Yeah.
do everything that Dave does.
Exactly. And I think after a certain point, you can pinpoint certain sounds that you like, and you're like, no, I want my stuff to sound more like this. Or wouldn't it be cool if I had like a song that kind of sounded like You by Kendrick Lamar, but right afterwards was like January 28th by J. Cole or something like that. So you can have these influences, but at the end of the day, you're still making something unique to yourself.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay. So then moving kind of away from like the thematic elements of your album.
Mhm.
So when are we gonna be able to hear what's going on? Like what are our dates for like 2K till infinity? When are we gonna be able to hear you live and all that sort of stuff? Like when is it coming out? When can we listen?
Right.
What's this time frame?
I think for now, it's all very tentative, and I don't want it to put a hard date on it yet. I think for now, August 2025 is when I'm aiming for. And that is, in the grand scheme of things, it's a long time away. But like I said, I want to build up to it, and I want to enjoy that journey instead of just rushing out a project, because I can make a project pretty fast. But there's something to be said about like just steeping in something and, having a couple different versions of one project and giving it room. And with these projects that I'm going to do along the way, my goal is to like build this up so that when you get there, you're like, all right, that's good. That was amazing. I've gotten everything I want out of this. And then I can move on to a different chapter. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to make music until next year, because I'm making music almost every day. And, that's the only way I can get through life. So this summer is definitely just going to be chock filled with shit. Like just Dupel mania.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Dupel Mania. When can we? When Dupel Mania, like it's WrestleMania. When are we gonna be able to see you live? When's your next shows? When can audiences listen to you so we can get kind of a backbone before we hear 2K Till Infinity?
For sure. Well, by the time this comes out, it should be beforehand. So I'm doing One Night Riot at the Mansion May 16th in Kingston. So for anyone listening who's from Kingston, and if this is out by then, I don't know, editor, throw it up or some shit. But if it's out by then, go check us out. Really fucking awesome night. We got myself, we got Cacao, and we got Heartman and Dirty North opening for us. And it's just going to be a celebration of art rather than just being one genre. It's a bunch of artists that I really respect and that I'm happy to be invited to perform with. And I'll be doing a lot of Big Vibes and Big Vibes Deluxe there. So check that out. I'm opening for Little Windex on June 4th, I believe is the date. Either way, I'm opening for Little Windex for Spring Reverb. Check that out. Just be a little short thing, but I think for the next little while, besides that, I don't have any live stuff, but June, I've got a full-length project coming out. July, full-length project coming out. August, full-length project coming out.
So much excitement, so much new stuff coming out.
It's a lot of new shit.
You have to be hyped on some level. Let's do this.
I know.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great to hear all of your new stuff. And
Absolutely. Thank you.
So exciting. And thank you for coming and talking to me. I'm Paige. And you saw our little special guest, Cleo, running around. So, yeah, thank you, Dupel.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you, Summers End Society, for, listening in. And, yeah, have a good one.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.